So many people don't realize the importance of potassium and how much it can fix a lot of their issues that they might take prescriptions for, because it's just so needed for the body. We need 4,700 milligrams per day, which over 50% of the population doesn't get. But you won't know that because it's not on any nutritional requirement labels, and it's often not in supplements. But you need it to regulate your heartbeat. So if you have like anxiety and you have like a rapid heartbeat, it can potentially help for that. It can lower blood pressure. Doctors even give it out for lowering blood pressure. It can help with neuropathy. So if you get stinging, numbness, like burning, tingling in your nerves, that could potentially help because you need it for nerve function. You need it for digestion. So if you get bloating, acid reflux, anything like that, you need potassium for adequate stomach acid, which is going to help all of those things. You need it for insulin, for allowing insulin to get into the cell. So potassium acts like a key for insulin. So that is what allows nutrients as well as like carbohydrates and glucose into the cell, which is vital for blood sugar regulation and in turn like so many different functions to happen optimally. It can help lower stress and anxiety. So potassium can kind of lower and combat cortisol. So it can also help you fall asleep at night. That's when cortisol should be the lowest, and some people have it opposite to where their cortisol is the highest at night. So potassium can really help. It can help with restless legs as well. And some of the best sources aren't commonly like acknowledged as such. Like for instance, bananas are actually only 1/10 of your daily value for one banana. So coconut water is one of the easiest consumable sources. Winter squash, dark leafy greens, potatoes, seafood, and plantain is actually one of the best sources. There's like 20% of your daily value in one plantain. So you can see how hard it is to get enough potassium. Like even if you're pretty health conscious and eat like a lot of fruits and vegetables, it can still be really hard to get enough. So I use an app called Chronometer, or you can go to chronometer.com to enter the food that you take in, and it will track like how you're doing on that. And if you are going to increase your potassium, you want to make sure that you're only trying like one additional potassium rich food at a time, because some people are sensitive to like rapid increases in potassium, specifically people who are really sick or like their body just doesn't hold on to sodium as well, because we really need like a balance of sodium and potassium. It's not just one or the other that are important. So for instance, people with low blood pressure who are told to reduce their sodium intake, they don't just need to reduce their sodium intake, they actually need to increase their relative quantity of potassium to sodium. So they could potentially like keep their sodium the same and just increase their intake of potassium. But all my clients, I always tell to only increase their potassium with some like potassium rich food that is salted, just to make sure you're keeping that proper balance, just so you know that you're not disrupting your electrolyte balance, because it can affect your heart and you don't know like who's going to be sensitive to it, who has really bad adrenal fatigue to the point that they could like release sodium, which is really important, when they have like potassium alone, which could be detrimental long term. But like me, I can take a bunch of potassium, but I slowly worked my way up, and I know how to monitor my symptoms. I know how to get biofeedback. So that's the only reason that I do that. I wouldn't recommend that for anyone else. Just stick with the food sources and slowly increase depending on how you do. And it's always best to get biofeedback, or ideally blood testing, and monitor that to make sure you're giving your body what it needs.